I mean, growing up, were you that stereotypical guy where it's like just didn't talk about your feelings, didn't show your feelings? Were you raised in a household where like that was, it's okay?
Um, See, I don't know how much like my parents put in on it, or it was myself that put on myself on it. Like I'm
Yeah.
not sure, where that came from. I know like, yeah, like men don't cry, like they don't show that emotion or something like that, and like I don't know if it was family or it was more like me
It's
doing
always a
it. Like
mixture of both. But
yeah,
like,
who
okay,
knows?
so did you grow up saying I love you?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Did you grow up like hugging your family members?
Yeah, yeah.
But you probably grew up like not wanting to let anyone see you cry.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I think like my mom probably, like my dad. No, like it was more like, I think at one point, like I had to like break him back into like giving hugs, like because he was like, I can't even remember. I think I was like going to college or whatever, and like it started like actually probably before that, like in high school or whatever. It started with like the handshakes, like instead of like hugs, and you're like, all right, yeah, I guess that's normal. Like
Yeah.
do this stuff, and then like now with the kids and stuff like that, like I'm like, nope, hug Pepe, he loves it.
Dude, I hug my dog now.
Just hug
I
him.
hug my dog. Like
Just
I'm
hug
like
him.
the opposite spectrum. Like
Oh no,
how
I
was
hug my
raised.
dad. I'm just like, yeah, nope,
I'm not
nope.
there.
I'm gonna crush you with hugs. I don't really care. So
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
How about you? I mean, growing up, was it?
Oh man, I don't want to put my parents on blast, but
Well, me neither. But you did it to me. So
oh okay. No, fair enough, fair enough. I love my parents. And my dad was raised. I know my grandpa was really tough on him. So zero hugs.
yeah,
Yeah, in fact, like if I would ever cry, they would just like lose their shit on me, and like I'll give you a reason to cry. So I think about a lot about that stuff because growing up, it's like I really didn't do emotions. I 100% didn't do emotions, and I think as someone who's ever as a veteran who's deployed, and who needs to process some shit. I think intellectually in your head, that's always good, right? But that's just never gonna be enough. I think you need to emotionally process that, and like I'm kind of just emotionally retarded. I really am. You know what I mean? I just am. Like
Yeah.
like if the other day in the office we were talking about someone and it was like a serious event, like health matters and issues, and like I started smiling a little bit and I had to apologize. I'm like, listen, I'm just not. I know how to
not
get
good at this
angry.
stuff, yeah.
I know how to get angry, and then like
Oh yeah,
when things
that's
get
an easy one.
yeah, that's super simple. When things get like really like tender moments, is like I just kind of like smile. It's kind of like a nervous, like when you chuckle, you're nervous. It's just like that's all I have. So it's like for me, when it comes to pain, it's a lot of like the saddest moments of my life. Walter Reed and all that, and like losing Lou was like I just didn't know how to process it. So like I just stuff it all down, and I think that's part of what I'd like to do with this podcast. So it's like I'm not like I said I'm not looking to try to cry, but I think I'd like to try to process some of those emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And you can't do that just by talking to yourself. I think.
No, you definitely have to have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Like because you go from like what do? You talk to yourself, like right? You just talk to yourself in your mind, like you're just like, hey, this stuff is fucked up, whatever. And you may get more depressed or whatever, but you're not like getting to a conclusion or like getting anywhere. Like
Yeah.
you have to like put it out there, and like that's the reason. Like last time, like I mean, I told you, like, it was like the first time I put all the pieces together, and threw it out there. And like, I was like leaving here and I'm like, oh shit, like it's out there now. Like it's there. And, but I think like it was helpful for me to like put it out there. And then like, all right, hey, potentially, some people we could like, get together on this. Like you could, cause that's why we talked about maybe getting some more people on, like, just like, talk about it, like have like a veteran like bullshit conversation about it,
Yeah.
and I think we'll get there. I think there's a lot of leads out there, but we'll get some people on here and talk about it. But it's yeah, you have to have somebody to like bullshit with about it.
Dude, I was talking with my coworkers, they're full time and stuff, and I had taken some photos at an event. The VFW was there, and I just started smiling, and I was like, "Holy shit, dude! Like this is kind of like the modern VFW."
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Like, I mean, like, hey, all right, you get back from World War II, like Vietnam and Korea. There wasn't like a system set up for like any veterans coming home. Like, obviously, yeah, the VA eventually got set up and stuff like that. But yeah, I was like, oh shit, that must have been why the VFW started, right? Like, so guys could just go bullshit about stuff, and then like okay, yeah, they're probably drinking beers and playing cards, but like. That was like the healing point.
The processing their emotions.
Point.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh well, like and that's why like a lot of the VFWs are like hurting is because there's so many other systems out there, and they created their own system. Like when the VFW started and stuff like that, they created this whole thing for them. And then now like you got all these other things out there and this and that, so whatever.
Yeah.
Wounded Warrior, like that kind of stuff, and it's like. Like, I think they had it fucking right. Like,
yeah,
you just gotta fucking sit down with your dudes and fucking bullshit, dudes and women or whatever, and just fucking bullshit. Like,
and the thing is, like, no matter what, though, like, even now, like, I don't want to go to a VFW. I don't want to go to a hall and fucking talk to random people and just like. But I don't know. Like this right now feels good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, this is like the modern day VFW. I mean, fucking look at it. Like, it's like a podcast, a VFW podcast.
Let me play a little more of Jocko because there's more on what he said that really got me.
Yeah.
Which kind of pertains to what we're talking about.
In Vietnam 50 years ago and still get hit with a wave of emotion. And as long as you understand what that is and you go, oh, yeah, guess what? I love my guys and I miss them.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yep.
But to not have these thoughts and to not have anyone kind of brief you on that, that's a freaking problem. And that's to me, as I start to connect the dots and fill in some of the voids in a story that I didn't quite understand, this is where I think I'm getting to.
Well, I'm glad because this isn't a story of like, woe is me, it was hard, because that's not at all what this is. This is hey, we made mistakes here, let's correct those so this isn't a repeat behavior, so that these kids coming up that are going to be 18 and 19 that are still deploying and doing this, let's make the changes now so we stop destroying the generation and not educating them properly, because that's what it comes down to. If somebody like you would have just taken 30 seconds out of their day to say, this is normal, what you're feeling is normal.
She's one of us, man. 10 years later, she's still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that all
I don't think
this
it takes
happened.
that long, too,
I'm
though.
standing
Like,
here, I'm
it really does,
screaming
right?
about it, and everyone's like, if you just take these, you will sleep. You will feel better. That's no way to handle anybody in any mindset at all.
Yeah, that's another thing is how are you going to get this out of your system? Like, you got separated from the guys that you were with, and all of a sudden you're with people that aren't talking to you about it.
Yeah.
Which is a bad thing.
Right.
You know, I'm sure you've heard this before, but in World War II, when World War II is over, you got onto a ship with a bunch of other guys that were in World War II with you, and you all sailed home for 6 weeks. And what did you do when you sailed home? You talked to each other, you cried, you freaking yelled, you screamed, you let out your emotions.
That's a good point.
Discussed the situations you'd been in, and you kind of processed it.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at the results of Vietnam, guys were flying home from Vietnam and getting on an. By the way, it was a 6 or 5 week process to sail back across the Pacific back to America, where you're getting probably the best form of psychological help that you can get, which is just sitting around and talking to your friends.
Talking to your buddies.
Vietnam, it was like, you're not with your unit, by the way. They pull you out of the field and you fly home with a bunch of people.
Yeah, like how it is now, right?
Some of them civilians, and then you show up and 24 hours later, you're on Main Street, USA, and people are asking you about whatever.
You're getting spit on and horrific things.
Yeah, and you add all that to it, and it gets even worse.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's another little element that I'm seeing is that you didn't have anyone to talk to, especially guys that were, and it sounds like there was a little animosity.
So yeah, she gets put on a team, and it's like separated from like
You separated from her guys,
or,
from her actual guys. Yeah, she wasn't getting any support from her actual unit. Her actual commander. I think at one point he said, he said that it would have been better off if you had died. So I didn't do all this paperwork.
Yeah, that's a hard one to process, I bet.
I mean, that's a whole different can of worms. But like, I guess I bring that up because it's like she didn't get to process her feelings with her guys, the people who mattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, well, looking at that thing with or hearing about it with the voyage home, right? Like the World War II guys, like, and I don't know how much it's true or whatever. And I'd love to, ask that, whatever. But like all right, so these guys are in World War II. They come home. They're 6 weeks on their way home, like probably bullshitting like the entire time, like doing some wazoo shit and planning their lives eventually and stuff like that. And who knows, maybe the idea for the VFW like came up at that point. But like, yeah, like you get pulled from. I get like Vietnam was obviously different than like what we did. Well, we did go home with our unit or tried to. But yeah, like I mean, what like you are together, but like in Vietnam, like I can only imagine like the fucking the shit that like because all the replacements, whatever, and like single people going home and stuff like that, and like you got nothing when you go back. And that's how we talked about yesterday or last time was like the yellow ribbon, like how you just like get home and then you're like, oh, this is gonna be great, like whatever, like I'm gonna go on leave and do the stuff and we'll hang out and stuff like that. And then like life happens and everybody just goes their separent ways. Yeah, and you're just like, oh shit, like. That whole like that. Like,
processing part also
doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's
because you're still
on the back burner.
Yeah, because you're still in a mode. Like you're still in like, hey, I got to get this thing done until you get home. And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this yellow ribbon thing. Okay, wait, it's like once a month, and you or 30, 60, and 90 days or whatever it is. Yeah.
So and that's one thing I talked to my therapist. I realized like because the thing like we talked before like. When we talk about PTSD and other symptoms, it's always really drastic things. You're either like that's like, like I don't sit with my back to the door. I'm always like, what I mean? Like super hyper arousal or like the one that's gotta be on suicide watch. And I mean, there's no in between. And talking to my therapist, like I have a bit of hyper arousal, in which makes a lot of sense to me, where it's like me as a person, my personality has always been like, yeah, when I get angry, I don't let things go. Let things go. Yeah. But ever since I left Walter Reed, it's like I have this hyper arousal, and then it's like I just don't fucking let it go, and I stack that, and I stack that, and I stack that, and it's really helped me realize like, oh shit, this is what's happening. Because before I thought I was going like. I thought I was going from I was like 0 to 60, like oh shit, you know what I mean? Like I'm just suddenly pissed again. Yeah. Oh fuck! Did all these just start recording?
I don't know. You talk about like when we hit like the
hyper arousal, dude.
Yeah.
This is what I learned through my therapist. Talking to her made me realize like I have a bit of hyper arousal. Like you know what I mean? Like when we get into a firefight or anything, it's about overwhelming like fucking fire security, crushing it, and you're fucking done. So I have that mentality, right? I get into an argument like I'm gonna fucking crush you. You know what I mean? And I don't. That's never like my like conscious decision. That's just like where I'm bringing it. Like I'm gonna fucking crush you. Yeah. I'm gonna fucking end this. Like, if you're looking at me the wrong way, like I'm gonna handle this now. You know what I mean? So that is where like she's kind of defining I think hyper arousal. You know what I mean? Like and then the 0 to 60. But what was driving me insane was like I was thinking to myself, man, I must be fucked up because I'm constantly going 0 to 60. And she goes, no, you think like you're at 0. But the thing is like I can get myself worked up and then later like I'll walk away and I'm thinking at 0, but really I'm still at like from 10 to
you're still right
0 to 10, like I'm at 5, you know what I mean? And that's really helped me a lot because like the other day I was at work and I work with this guy and he does these things that annoy me because he ends up getting in my way and tripping me up, and I get frustrated. And I could say to myself, which helps me because like I like to be logical about everything. I'm not at a 0. I'm actually at a fucking 4 right now. And right now I'm working my way up to a 5 and a 6. So when I do get really angry, like I realize, oh, okay, I didn't go from 0 to 60. You know what I mean? I'm not this fucking psycho. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just have I get
like a build up to it.
Yeah. So I don't know. That was a big takeaway from me.
Yeah. Well. 0 to 60 is like that's a tried and true thing.
Do you have that problem?
I think I still do it. Yeah. I mean, it's I guess a lot less prevalent, but it's yeah, it definitely happens. I mean, it's like, you know, you get one thing goes wrong, one thing here, one thing there, and then you're like, fuck, like just like going fucking nuts about it. You know, you're like, it's like some fucking stupid thing at that point. Like, it's like, you know, all these things go wrong or whatever it is. And then like one stupid thing happens, you flip out, and then it's like, oh, well, why are you flipping out over the stupid thing? Well, it wasn't just the stupid thing, you know, but you know, the buildup happens and all that stuff. So I don't know. I definitely have that issue sometimes. So.
Do you feel like that was present before our deployment?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's like more like sneaky now, I guess. Like before I was kind of like, yeah, like I knew I was getting angry and stuff like that. Now it's just kind of like, maybe it just like drums up real quick. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember being, I remember being angry before.
Right.
But
like you know, you had a temper. Like you
yeah.
could
Oh yeah. No,
lose,
I've always known I had a temper.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
But like, yeah, now it like sneaks up on me sometimes where I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, I try my best not to like let it sneak up, but it sneaks up and I'm like, motherfucker. Like,
yeah, no, I think we are on the same page and I feel the same exact way. And then I just beat myself up because I feel like a child, like throwing a temper tantrum. You know what I
because
mean?
you lash out at like it is that last like little thing that happens, but it's like probably like something so minuscule, but it's still like that little last trigger or whatever, and then all right, now you gotta lash out this dude or this like or your wife or whatever the fuck, you know, and you're just like you're like, oh well, that was kind of stupid, but like, you know, it was the whole process, not like that one instance, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I like it because it helps me better. Like I said, I'm never looking to take the blame off me, but better understand what's happening and the fact that I can identify it's like it's hyper arousal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I don't have PTSD, and I think I always felt like I walked away pretty unscathed. You know what I mean, psychologically. But now that I can identify it, it's helping me be more aware and try to mitigate things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's why they were trying so hard. Like, you talked about Walter Reed before. They were trying so hard to, like, get you to, like...
My face just went tight right now.
How you feeling?
Fucking
how you doing
Walter.
this? How you doing that? Like, stuff like that. Because, like, yeah, but, like, if you talk to anybody and you're like, oh, hey, yeah, I got shot in my leg and I flew down a mountain and then, like, dudes had to come rescue me and then I got airlifted and then this and that. And they're like, well, you don't have any issues? You good? And it's like, well, no, well, it may come up 10 years later, but then you're like, all right, yeah.
Dude, I think I am good 100%. Not 100%, but I think largely I'm good from Afghanistan. You know what I mean? I think, honestly, what fucked me up was Walter Reed. And the fact that I spent 10 months there was essentially like a deployment.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking miserable, probably. Yeah.
It's like if the Army had its own DMV. You know? This is what Walter Reed was like for me. And the thing
get
is,
up, stand in line, fucking all day, do nothing.
Just take shit from fucking NCOs and officers that aren't. And the thing is, parts of me like feel awful because there's so many good nurses and doctors there that did an excellent job. I'm alive because of Walter Reed.
Yeah.
So like my aim is never to shit on Walter Reed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's the process that it's an Army hospital. So now you're like when the Army's involved.
But that's the thing. Yeah.
It's like they make things a little bit more stringent, I guess, and like a little bit more. I mean, like obviously you hear the stories about like people like raking rocks and like doing stuff, and then like picture that to a scale of like a hospital. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I've got
like
stories.
just doing stupid shit, and then you're like, oh hey, yeah, everybody's bored today. Let me find some things for a bunch of privates to do. Oh, you know what? Why don't you go pull fucking mulch out of the rocks? Like, and then you times it by like 8 million trying to go to like, hey, let's run a hospital. You know?
I mean, I get that. I get all that. I mean, we both get all
craziness.
that. That's just the Army.
Yeah.
You know, find something to do. But the hospital's not the place, man. And
yeah.
And I wish my mind could focus on all the good things that's happened with Walter Reed. Obviously, being alive, I made a friend. I had an amazing internship, you know, and some of the problems that I reflect on, like I added to it, but like if some of the shit that I experienced ever happened to like a civilian hospital or a corporate hospital, like fucking heads would be rolling, you know what I mean? But for us, it was like every day you're a soldier who gives a fuck. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? It just actually, you know what? My therapist, I was talking to her. She said it actually probably be good if like one day, you know, we just had a full session. I just talked about Walter Reed, and actually my buddy, I reached out to my Facebook, who I made friends with Walter Reed, is down to do like a Zoom in podcast if you're done.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah. Well, maybe I could bring my buddy on there that was just down there for a while.
Oh yeah. I think that'd be great.
Yeah. Fuck if I can. Yeah. No, I've heard the stories and stuff like that. It's not like, like it's not the hospital. It's not the people there like wanting to care for you. It's the Army's involvement in that piece. Like it turns into like a fucking nightmare. You know?
It's a lot of variables, man, and a lot of that I could empathize. You know what I mean? Like something as simple as like my reception, you know, after getting discharged from the main hospital, because there's Walter Reed, the hospital is, think of it as a little I would say like a post, but like not a post, like with a college campus, you know what I mean? So there's a hospital. They got like dorm rooms. And next to it is the barracks, right? I just remember going to in process, and our company commander, I was in processing with, something was off with the conversation. Like I felt like he was talking to me like I didn't belong there, and like he even asked me something along those lines. His face was like, "What the fuck? Why are you still here?" You know what I mean? And I just walked away like really confused, like, "What the fuck?" Like, all right, you know what I mean?
I'm here because you won't let me home. Like there's still stuff to be done, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like I think he asked me something along those lines, like, "Well, like why are you still here?" And I just didn't know what to say. I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, apparently, I still need to be here.
I need that question answered.
Like fuck. Like, I want to leave. Like, I want to get the fuck out. Yeah. And shortly after, within a month, I learned that primarily for National Guard soldiers, there's a perception that we're treating it as a free ride, like it's like an all-inclusive paid vacation, where you're still getting, you know, active duty pay, you get free meals, free room, free board.
Well, what sucks is that there probably are those dudes.
And there are those dudes.
And that's the problem.
And yes, exactly, 100%. So I can completely empathize with that, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you can't fucking treat everybody.
You can't treat everybody like that. I don't give a fuck.
I don't know. Did you see me fucking all the paperwork on my fucking leg? Like, come on, dude. Like, what the fuck? Fuck's wrong with you?
Even if it's like 90% of soldiers are shitbags, I don't give a fuck. I was one of those soldiers who didn't want to be there and was glad to leave the moment I could. And like right now, I'm still getting fucking pissed, dude. Like
yeah.
So yeah,
definitely.
I'm looking forward to having my buddy on here and talking about Walter Reed.
Yeah, no, I think you should probably bring that up pretty soon, because I think a lot of your stuff is like from Walter Reed, not so much from like your deployment and stuff.
Yeah,
like, it's kind of like wild. You know, it's because of the process coming back. Like we can all agree that it's like good, bad, but yeah, like, you know, you never got to bullshit with your dudes about anything that you did or anything that happened with you, because you're talking about like you died 3 times and didn't even know it. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, I remember when your heart stopped, like your company commander or whatever. We did this and that, and then we got you like to Germany and stuff like that. But like, dude, man, like, yeah, I think you should definitely have that conversation, especially, you know, go a little crazy about Walter Reed. I mean, hey, you know, it is what it is. Like it did save your life, but like you gotta call a spade too. Like, you know, and I feel like I had a dude there like a little while ago, and he like same experiences that you had. Like it's just like this dude did not want to be there. He's like, why the fuck am I here? But because of the process, like that had to like be done, because like he got injured in a training accident.
Was he there? Was he there at Walter Reed before the BRAC, or was he at Bethesda when Navy took it over? I think Navy took it over.
shit, I don't even fucking know. I mean, it wasn't. It's in Bethesda, yeah. So like because we went down to visit him, like stuff like that.
It's like literally down the road from where the old Wall Street was.
Okay, yeah.
So it's still
yeah. So it's probably there.
Okay,
but same thing, like dorm rooms,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that kind of thing.
It's the same.
Like,
I'm sure the same fucking shit.
And yeah, he was just like, I don't know why I'm here, like still, like, you know, he's going through this therapies, whatever, and then like, you know, the pay couldn't line up, like it was like it's just weird stuff, like National Guard versus Army stuff.
Like a few nights ago, I was watching this movie called The Tomorrow War. Have you seen it?
Oh no, it's a new one, right?
Yeah. Chris
no, I haven't
Pratt,
seen it yet.
Amazon Prime. And there's this moment where like they were trying to exfil out of the AO. They had to retreat because there was gonna be they're gonna be dropping fucking bombs, and two of their guys, one of the guys got injured, so two of them had to turn back. You know, and they were like just leave us.
Yeah,
and they're just like, you know, just firing, having a last standoff. And emotionally, like before like Lou, I wouldn't have felt anything. But since Lou, like, I don't know, like I've been feeling like really strong feelings, and I wanted to just cry. Like I felt it. I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
And this is embarrassing to say, and I don't know when I started to do this, but when I feel those emotions, like really strong emotions, like I slap myself in the face. Like I physically slap myself in the face. I don't let myself feel those feelings. And like I said, I don't even know when it started. It definitely wasn't something I did growing up because I never had to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just
because your mom would take care of it.
yeah. My parents would be like, "You want to fucking cry? I'll give you something to cry about." So I just never cried growing up.
Yeah.
Well, I did. I cried whenever I got angry, but like it was never like cry because I'm sad.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing. And really, at some point after Lou died, like I told my therapist, like I feel like something broke. And she goes, I don't think something broke. I think something is rising in you. You know what I mean? Which I don't know if I mean, she's the therapist and all. She's got the PhD, but I don't know if I really agree with that. Maybe so. Maybe it's just semantics. But all I know is I can't control these feelings, and it's like it's annoying, really.
Yeah,
because I don't. It's a fucking movie. Like I know it's a movie, and honestly, it wasn't even the most sentimental scene.
Yeah.
But seeing them turn around while like they were sacrificing themselves, like it made me want to cry, and I slapped myself in the face, and which helped me realize, you know, between us talking, me talking to the VA, and just my reticular activation system picking up things Jocko was talking about earlier. It was like I don't ever let myself process feelings. Like the moment I feel feelings, like
I find
put
something
that
else.
Shit,
Or whatever.
I snuff that shit out.
Yeah. Slap yourself in the face.
I slap myself in the face. I literally slap myself in the face.
Yeah, I don't know if that's healthy.
It's pretty psychotic.
And I don't have a PhD.
It's pretty psychotic if I were to film myself. Like I just like literally like, boom, and like I snap out of it. Like I'm not. Like,
I mean, honestly, like I think you need to feel those feelings. Like I mean, it sucks or whatever. Like, believe me, it fucking sucks. And it like not till after having kids, like some of the stuff that I've had, like just stupid shit. Dude, I was watching Fatherhood with like Kevin Hart. It's supposed to be like this, like
it's a new one.
Yeah, it's like this big
Netflix,
emotional movie, whatever, Netflix and stuff like that. And like before the kid's even like born, you know the kid's die, like the mom is gonna die, and like you're like, what the fuck? And then like I'm like I can't even watch this thing because now like I'm thinking about like my whole thing. And I'm done having kids. I'm not 3 is enough. Like, but like I'm like I like physically like had to force myself to like watch these kids, like to watch the show or whatever. And it was just like because I didn't want to deal with like the emotions that I had at the time. Like my wife get like having kids or whatever. There's like 8 million things that can go wrong, right? So I didn't want to deal with it, stuff like that. And but I think to your point though, that you need to like when you do have those feelings, whether or not it's in an action movie or whatever it is, like you gotta fucking let them out sometimes. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's healthy to not do that.
Yeah,
it's probably not healthy to slap yourself in the face because you think you're gonna cry. I mean, I may be pretty far off from here and
it's
no PhD, but like, hey,
say it out loud.
yeah, like if you think about it, like,
well, dude, you know what's funny?
I know what you want to do. Like, obviously, like, I mean, I know you don't want to feel those feelings, but like, that's the stuff we're talking about here. Is that like, hey, like, whether you're talking about them or feeling them, like, you got to do a little bit of both.
Dude, you know what's it made me think of, I've done the 1,000-yard stare. And before you hear it in movies, I just thought it was kind of not bullshit. Because obviously guys that survived the World War II, they could, that's some fucked up shit where it's like, I don't,
I mean,
you
like,
can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
but,
that's
you know,
what I mean. Like, we
intense.
can't, yeah.
But after, you know, I know the 1,000-yard stare, it felt more like a Hollywood cliche versus something real.
Yeah.
But I experienced it one time. Like once I stepped back, I was like, oh my God, I just did a 1,000-yard stare. It was because I was at an event and you know, someone knew I was injured and they were like asking questions and they asked questions about Lou. And Lou's the only thing that will get me choked up. And I could feel myself wanting to cry. And the moment I started crying, I remember I just, it feels like my soul left my body and I stared off into space. And then I could hear the person talking to me, like literally like a movie, like slowly the voice started fading in. It started fading in, and then I kind of snapped back too, and I realized afterwards. At first I was like, "What the fuck happened?" And I realized like I was trying to distance myself from my emotions because I didn't want to cry. Yeah. Like I just completely did the 1,000-yard stare.
I think, and you say it's because of Lou, because Lou is like, dude, he was just genuine, Like, I mean, that's like the best way to put it is that like, I feel like he was just like always genuine, like heart on his sleeve. Like he, you know, obviously needed to do what he needed to do, but like he was like always a genuine dude.
I wrote that in a eulogy when I said at his funeral. I wrote, he was like, fuck, I forgot what I wrote, but like he was just like, he was brutally honest, like fucking brutally honest.
No, I think I remember, because we went with the unit there.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Kelly was part of that firing squad, right?
Yeah.
And but like when he said he loved you, he meant it. You know.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's hard for you to like, you know, talk about Lou, because when he comes up, like then you think about him like doing that, and you're like, oh well, like yeah, he did do that. You know, like, and it's just a lot of emotion there because Lou was a lot of emotion. Like, I mean, whether you look at it that way or not, like he wasn't just like, hey, you know, I'm this like the bee's knees, because he was both. Like he was like, you know, and he was full of that, like, because he would, you know, he'd have his like he'd love hard, like you know, that's the best way to put it. And you had a little bit more experiences than I did with him, but you know, I can see it being like a trigger. Like, because it's just like he was just a genuine individual, and you don't want to like think about, you know, what happened or whatever. And I think I don't have that as much with like my experience with like death during like deployment or whatever, because it was like Dennis was like one removed or whatever, so he was like in my squad for a while, and then he was like in somebody else's squad and stuff like that, so it wasn't like and I was the team leader, so it was like not, I don't know, and it wasn't direct, so it was like hard to like you know, have that kind of piece to it, whereas you guys are like peers and like doing this stuff, so it was like you know, and I'm sure like our dudes that were peers with him like have a different aspect about things, but you know, at a certain point, it was like always like, oh yeah, that one's down now too.
Really creative. I'm sorry, man. I know this one will keep going, so we'll keep going. Yeah, and I mean, like we talked about, like it's about bullshitting about it. It's about doing this. Like it's you know, getting to a point where we can talk about these things rather than having like us talk about, oh, hey, remember that time like we were fucking going down the road and like, yeah, we fucking blew that fucking IED up, and it was like, oh yeah, but everybody was cool. Yeah, we're fucking good to go. Fucking rocked the 240, like do other stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like we can talk about it that way as like, yeah, we can tell war stories, but like when we get to a certain point, because like you start off with war stories, and then like after war stories, you know, you do a shot or two, and then here comes like the little bit of emotional stuff, and I think like shit, maybe the VFW had it right this whole fucking time. You know what I mean? Like who knows? Yeah. Like and sadly, like I've been a part of VFW for shit like fucking a while now, like since I've been back, but like Yeah,
not
you've been
a,
to their
not a part of the
chapters?
VFW.
What do they call it? They call chapters or something?
Yeah, posts.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I've been a member. So I've done like I've done like the Memorial Day, the Veterans Day. Like I do like the shooting like thing, whatever, and like but like I've never actually like been like to the post or whatever. Like because I mean like who can like spend a night out like going to like bullshit or play cards like on our schedule at this point. Like it's just that's where it's like tough to like figure out like, hey,
Yeah. Strangers.
Yeah, I mean strangers, like I know them, but it's like, yeah, it's a little different, like, you know, trying to figure that one out. So I don't know. I mean, like maybe that's the cure to like all this stuff, but like how you gonna get there at this point? I think we're on a little better right track for like the people of our generation to an extent.
Maybe we
like,
should call this the Rhode Island virtual VFW.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
We could bring in vets. We'll talk.
Well, because what's happening is like we had a VFW. So I live in Barville or whatever. So I'm part of the Barville VFW, but like I was in North Smithfield at the time. And North Smithfield had a VFW. And then like some restaurant bought them out. So now there's like, I don't even know if there's a VFW there. You know what I mean? So like, I think like the VFW is not even, they're struggling as much as like, because it's like, you know what I mean? Like because it's like, it's a schedule thing, I think. I mean, it's not like guys don't want to go be part of the VFW and go out and like, you know, play cards and, you know, drink a couple beers or whatever. Like that's definitely like an attractive thing. But I think it's because of people's like trying to schedules, like trying to like, hey, you know, I'm trying to like do like you, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like working for the Guard. I'm doing, you know, this photo shoot here, this whatever. Like it becomes like, hey, I mean, not everybody can dedicate like every like once a week to go there. You know what I mean? So
I didn't know there was an actual like kind of like schedule for meeting. But I was actually talking to somebody. I think they were from their VFW. They were recruiting. And I mean, I don't have any reason to doubt what you say, but I think he told me in his terms, like they were going away because, you know, our generation just don't care to do those kind of things.
That's my thing. I don't think it's that they don't care. Okay. I think it's that like there's just so much going on. Like, and you know, whether or not who's right or who's wrong, and it doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of, they are going away. Like, because like
they are.
Like it is what it is, and it's you know, whether it's that way or another way, who knows? But like, you know, I think like me, like myself and maybe like one other dude is like Iraq, or not even Iraq, like so Afghanistan, Iraq, like connected. Like everybody else is like, and, you know, either Vietnam or Korea or, you know, that kind of piece, and it's like it's tough to like. I don't know. It's tough to talk to those people. I think you can find very common ground with like that kind of piece. But like, I'm just talking about like the younger crowd that's actually in the VFWs. And I'd love to hear that like a VFW is thriving and they got like members that are like Afghan, like OEF, OIF, like tons of members and stuff like that. But like in my case, like it's not the case. And like I can't say, hey, every Thursday night I'm gonna go play pitch, which to me. It makes me mad that I can't go do that because I can't dedicate that time to it. You know what I mean? But like, should I, like, that's why I go do the Veterans Day and the Memorial Day stuff, is because I can't dedicate one day a week to go there, you know, and to go like drink beers and bullshit, that's kind of the reason I think the VFW is like having a hard time with it, you know, because it's a schedule piece, I don't think it's not caring piece. I think it's a schedule piece.
That's interesting because for my personally, for me, if someone was like, hey, do you want to join the VFW? It really would be a 100%. Like I look at like, you know, a bunch of old white dudes, you know, like I guess I say it respectfully as much as possible, but that's how I picture it. You know what I mean? And it's just like what we have in common is like, you know, was war, but it's like I just wouldn't feel completely comfortable being there because it's like I kind of want to have more common ground. You know what I mean? And I guess maybe partly, if I had to be completely true, is like I don't want to remind him of Charlie. So
yeah,
you know what I mean, which is a real thing. But yeah, I guess I personally don't feel like I would do well in a VFW.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah. And that's what it is too. Is that the generation controls the VFW, and they can control what what the VFW is at that point. So like, okay, so the generation that like the majority of the generation I'm in the VFW, like getting ready to retire or already retired. So now they're like, they have the free time to go do stuff, like whatever. They just like, oh yeah, Thursdays, yeah, pitch, sounds good, which is awesome. Like I'd love to be able to do that, but I just can't do it. Like, and I think if I did, it would, like, obviously every time it's not going to be like that, like, oh shit moment where now we get two. Oh,
the VFW served its purpose now in hindsight, where it's like it's helped a lot of us decompress and process our emotions, both logically and emotionally. And I think we need that, and we didn't get to utilize that,
Yeah, I mean, and obviously it's a hunch for both of us because like we weren't there when the VFWs were started, and like, we weren't there when Vietnam veterans came back. Like we didn't do that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
And I'd be curious to be like what, what process are they at, or even like did the VFW, was it there, like, was it that like the thing we're talking about, was it like, hey, yeah, we would just go bullshit and like do this stuff and like it helped, or maybe not even knowing it helped, but it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be something to pursue. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody that's like the VFW head right now, and we can kind of figure out.
Well, what I was
does that
thinking
stuff,
was
like-
instead of trying to piggyback at the VFW, what do we just call it our own thing? You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
go from there, just see what happens. Because like I don't know, like it's not like I said, this is just like a personal gain and just for fun, really. And it's like this is
Yeah,
not.
no, it's supposed to be like our thing, whatever.
Yeah,
But like,
I'm not
hey,
trying to do this forever.
Yeah, but what I think is, and I mean, obviously, we could do it this way, we could do it like many other ways and stuff like that. But like I think if we brought the VFW into it, I don't know, it might make it like, you might get some interesting people on here, obviously, willing to talk about things, and then it might also, yeah, it might be tough.
I just
it's be tough.
I don't want to lock us into
Yeah, it's
something
gonna be tough.
permanent. I just want to kind of like. I don't see us doing this for a very long time. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
no, I think a couple of these, I think I'm gaining stuff bullshitting. So
100%.
you know what I mean?
No,
And
trust me.
I think we can do these for us, or we can do these for many other thing. I don't know. I feel like the last time we had like a lot of things that like we wanted to say,
Yeah.
and like at this point like remember we were talking about like, hey, like, do we need an agenda, or do we need like a context? Like maybe we do need a little bit of an agenda just to like kind of keep us on track, because I think we've bounced all over, like fucking from Jocko to like the Walter Reed to like the VFW to like all this stuff. But like
I'm okay with that.
It does, yeah, and it does all tie itself together. I think like because we it's all about processing that whole piece, like coming back and like. Not even coming back, but like processing like, these big things that happen in your lives, and then like being able to have an open conversation about them while still being a man. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, like with all this stuff, like, hey, like,
Well, what we're comfortable with is just, then that's what it's kind of like being a man. We're just not very comfortable with feelings.
yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm like, all right, hey, during that scene or whatever, like, okay, maybe you should shed a tear or two, whatever. But like, no, you slap yourself in the face. Like, what, you know what I mean? Which, hey, like, no, that's kind of why we're talking about this stuff, is that like, I'm a little less, I don't know. I thought I kind of had it all together when we were talking last time. And now I'm like a little bit more step back. We're like, hey, it's like, yeah, there's definitely some other things that like I'm not like fully cured of, I guess you'd say. Like it's a revolving piece, I guess you'd say. Like I don't think there's a cure to it, but I think this helps to an extent. And it may help others, which that's like one of my biggest things in like is I want to at least give guys or gals an opportunity to be like, hey, like, yeah, just come bullshit. Like it's not I don't know, there's like no consequences or whatever it may be. Just like, hey, come talk about this stuff. But
well, that's my thought with this whole VFW thing. It's like I don't want to be attached to the VFW because then I feel obligated to like do this for like 10 years, and I don't want to do this for 10 years. But I mean, I can see us doing this for like multiple years. Yeah, because it's pretty fun. I mean, especially if we do this every other week versus trying to commit every week, because then it becomes a stress and
we could get. We could get better at this.
No, yeah, we could. I mean, all this we can figure it out. I want to keep this for what it is. I want to protect it where it's like it helps me and you, and we can help other people along the way. But the moment it becomes like a stress where it's like, oh fuck, like I need to get this done, like I know I don't want to do it, and then that's why I don't want to attach myself to the VA, you know what I mean? Like we end up doing this for the next 5 years, cool, as long as we're having fun doing it, but I don't want that feeling of obligation, and then it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so I guess, but I guess the intent is knowing that the fact that we as vets don't emotionally process our feelings, and the VA is a place where we did a lot of that. I think that's probably where a lot of the previous vets did it. I think I'd like to offer that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, that's true.
So maybe I think that's our pitch. We're like the digital VA, but I think we probably need a name, you know what I mean? But the digital VA helps as a description get it across faster.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, like digital, yeah, something like that. And I mean, like, at this point, like, I mean, you should like service fucking questions or something like that. Like, I mean, I know we shared it on Facebook, like you and I did, and stuff like that. I don't know how to get this thing out, but like, I think getting this thing out and like people that are seeing it like are kind of like watching it, contemplating it. I don't think it'll be like this week, next week. I think like, they're gonna be like, oh, hey, I watched a video of like you guys talking about stuff. Like, hey, what was that all about? And that kind of thing, which is cool. And I had that conversation with like, one of the guys at work or whatever, and it was just like, yeah. Well, we realized that we're kind of on the same page with some stuff, and then like totally on a different page with other stuff, But yeah, I think we just have to, I don't know, get to a point where like, hey, what are we talking about here? Well, what are we gonna bring to the table? And if we're bringing to the table just, about us, like, hey, like, okay, well, I can call you out for not crying on that fucking action movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think that's the problem too. I don't want to cry. I just fucking don't.
No, me neither.
Is it needed though to like make myself
like,
I
think so.
Better though?
Yeah.
Like crying while watching a movie, and I'm sure like that will help release some sort of emotional stress from the war. Not even from the war. It's not even the war. It's fucking. I have anger from Walter Reed, and I have a loss of pain from Lou. But it's like I don't want to cry while watching that movie. You know what I mean? So I don't know what's fucking right or wrong.
Everybody needs a good cry, man.
No, I don't want to cry ever. Fucking no.
Come here.
I didn't even cry,
come here, buddy.
I didn't even cry when I got shot and almost was dying there, dude. I didn't even cry.
Yeah, I mean, it's
fucking cry watching a fucking bullshit movie. Fucking Chris Pratt.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you really should. It might make you feel better. And if it doesn't, guess what? Nobody's hurt.
My fucking ego's hurt. Fucking crying watching Chris Pratt play an SF guy.
Oh man. Well, I guess we'll work on that next week. Just kidding.
I don't know,
man. And I think that I mean, obviously, like I talked about, like having kids, and like having kids is like this. I mean, it opens yourself up to like quite a bit different emotional everything, I guess. And yeah, it's definitely that's definitely a. All right, because now you have to like work on little people's emotions, and then you're like, okay, so now you got all these like other things that you're like, well. All right, well, if I hurt your feelings here and stuff like that, and you're worried about like what's going on and stuff like that, then you're a little more susceptible to be like, well, you know what? If the movie is going to make me cry, I'm going to cry. And if I'm watching that movie, like, I mean, obviously, like, if you're watching it with a bunch of your, like, dude friends or whatever, like, yeah, maybe you don't cry. But,
That's
like,
true.
if you're, like, by yourself and you're, like, fucking in your room and you're, like, watching this thing and you're, like, you know, fucking let them out, man. You know, like, hey, well, who's going to hurt at that point? Like,
You're
nobody.
absolutely right there.
You
It's
know?
just,
Obviously, yeah. Like, am I gonna cry at all those movies where that I think I've cried before? And like Old Yeller and fucking, it's dog movies that make me cry. Like, honestly, like it's those ones. But like, yeah, like, are you gonna do it in front of everybody?
I don't know why, but the idea of crying just disgusts me so much. It's just,
Well, you know, it's called it's what you talked about before with your parents not letting you cry.
I think that's probably what it is. Like they're
probably
the
is, man.
disgust of
Like,
me
yeah.
crying as a kid is like I've adopted that, and there's no This isn't like me trying to bullshit, trying to like be cool for the camera or whatever. Like, oh, like yeah, fuck crying. Like, I really, that's my visceral feeling of crying. Like I just don't fucking want to cry. Like, ew.
Yeah.
No, thank you. So when I catch myself wanting to cry, I'm just like, what the fuck, guy?
I just slap yourself silly.
I slap myself really hard in the face. That's fucked up. It's so fucked up when I say it out loud.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah. Well, you work on crying. I'll work on trying to figure out what the fuck I want to say.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. I feel bad. I feel like I did all the talking today.
No. I think we both figured this one out, and you know, it might be a little bit harder editing than last time, because last time I think we had a lot on the table last time, and like we're like, hey, this is what I want to talk about, the whole piece, and then you know, now we kind of jumped around a little bit, but I think it's still serving its purpose. Like,
Let me ask you real quick. Since it wasn't too long ago we filmed the last one, have you noticed a difference or any sort of like, you know, like I said, I noticed that I'm a lot more keen to like my thoughts and how I'm gonna start reacting to them, or I'm about to react to it. Have you noticed anything?
I think I felt better about letting my story be out there, where I was like pretty ashamed about my whole situation, and yeah, letting it out there was like it was like something I was like hiding from many people like for a very long time, and like didn't want that to be like, you know, didn't want that to like make me who I am or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, oh, this dude that fucking got a DUI and fucking did this and that and stuff like that. And like, you know, I hid it from my family to an extent. You know, not my mother and father or stuff like that, but like, you know, extended family. I think the ones that would watch that or did watch it, like probably learned a lot, because I don't talk about that stuff with them, and it was tough to let it all out there. But I'm like, it's almost like a relief to an extent, let like my story's out there, and it's like in the context that I want it to be, you know, and I didn't want it to like leak out. Like, not that I didn't want to leak out, but I just
You want to tell your story.
Yeah, I wanted to tell it
your story.
as like, hey, this is it. Like, and shit, like hold myself accountable too. Like, hey, like, you know, this is the story and this is the truth. And I think I was working really hard last time to telling the truth and like being very like, hey, this is what happened. This is like what all this stuff is. And like, so I could hold myself accountable to be like, yeah, like, no, you did do that stuff. Like, you were an asshole. Like, you did do that. Like, so you have to still, you know, remember that you did that. Like, to an extent, you don't get a free pass every time. You know, to and it was definitely educating for my wife to see, I think, and stuff like that. But yeah, so definitely a big difference.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that, man. And also, when you said that, I didn't really connect the dots, but I think my initial thought of filming this was, well, my go-to was like, because like I do this for my business, but my go-to was where it's like, maybe this video could help someone else. But I think this also helps us filming it, putting it out there. Like, we know we're not Kevin Hart, so a million people aren't going to see this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not even like thousands of people will see it. Literally, maybe a handful of hundreds. But I think it's also relieving for us, because it's like we're still nonetheless putting our truths out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think there's a sense of freedom there.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that, man.
Yeah.
So I look forward to doing more of these.
Yeah, me too, man.
All right, Zach.
Yeah.
Until next time.
All right, brother.
Later.